weird reason, Michigan is still ahead of Michigan State, even though Michigan State beat them, 3 weeks back? So that is still weird. Notre Dame at number 8, they still have a chance to get in if there's a couple things that happen their way, most notably a Cincinnati loss to either U of H or SMU. That could change the game. Oklahoma State's still in that same boat as well. They could potentially get in. And things could be very interesting if Bama ends up losing to Georgia in the SEC championship game. As for A&M, why are they behind Wisconsin? I get that Wisconsin has won 6 in a row. I get that. But they have the same record. But who has Wisconsin beat this year? Their best win is against number 17 Iowa. I don't know. I think number 1 Alabama, or now number 2 at the time. At the time, number 1, number 2 now. Is a little bit better than that, along with the Auburn victory and whatnot. But that's where they are. BYU is also ahead of them, which is, a little weird on that. They've got 2 losses, but that's, I guess, the main reason. But when you look at A&M, they've only lost to top 25 schools. So we're going to break that down here this morning, and I asked the question, what do you think of these college football rankings here on a Wednesday morning? If you want to be a part of the conversation, you can text the A&B text line, 979-693-1150. A&B, a College Station branch of the Amarillo National Bank, Good Texas Banking, the website, amb.com, or you can call the BCSI Associates hotline, 979-693-1150. And with that, we begin the Go Hour. Olin Buchanan, my friend, not your best morning.
Tough morning.
Yeah.
Tough morning. Looks like maybe maybe water pipe's broken or, whatever. My back neighbor, Debbie, who is by the way, a faithful TexAgger.
Okay.
Called the wife this morning and said, hey, you might want to check out because my backyard's full of water and everything's coming your way. Our yard kind of slants to where everything that runs off from our yard goes into hers.
That's
so,
awesome.
Yeah.
Better. Yeah.
But anyway, so trying to call the city, get them out, check it, see if it's their problem instead of my problem. Hopefully it's their problem because then they pay for it.
Yeah. That's a terrible way to start your day.
That's how my day started. Couldn't find my reading glasses, and then I'm, pressed for time. So it's been that kind of day.
So here I thought I was having a horrible morning. I woke up and the Wi-Fi in our house wasn't working, so I had to come here and start my...
Oh, get used to that.
That happens a lot. It's the second time it's happened to me.
Sudden link?
I don't know. I have somebody else. Yeah.
Okay. Oh. So, okay. Somebody in local government's got to be getting a kickback from Suddenlink for us not to have any options or more options than we do. There's got to be some kind of deal made with the devil because and I know everybody listening to this understands the internet service is constantly going out.
Well, I have somebody else, and it's going out as well. It's the second week in a row, and, I just reset the box, and I think it's fine, but I didn't have time to go in there, unscrew the box, and get it. So I just came here, and I started working early this morning, and I started reviewing the rankings out there, and, OB, the exercise of going through the rankings gets kind of stupid after a while, but I'm still a little perplexed why Michigan is ranked ahead of Michigan State, other than expecting Michigan State to lose more games. That's the only thing I can see.
Yeah, it makes no sense. The records are the same. You can say, well, Michigan State lost more recently. It's not like they lost or they beat Michigan in week 2 and then lost in week 10. It was like just 3 weeks ago. If you have the same record, the on the field head to head has to matter for something. If it doesn't, why do you play?
No reason to play.
There's no reason to even – let's just get to the beginning of the year and let everyone put out what their team looks like and then let a committee decide who's going to win the conference championship.
So on my way in, I was listening to Cannell and –
Why?
Just because I like to listen to college football stuff.
Okay.
Sometimes he's good. I mean, I think he's actually a good broadcaster. I just don't like his A&M takes half the time. But one of the things he was talking about is this SEC bias, and SEC teams get all this love, and they're in the top 25. And I'm thinking to myself, look, no disrespect to UTSA, they're not one of the top 25 schools in the country. They're not. I haven't watched them play. It's probably unfair of me to say that. I'm going off of the history of their program, the kind of players that they probably had. It's probably unfair for me to say, but I don't think they're one of the top 25 teams in the country. I don't think I don't know about maybe Houston. I don't know. I got to see. Dana Holgorsen always is a good coach. San Diego State, are they one of the best? Potentially. But this talk about SEC teams and Mississippi State at 6-4 being in the top 25, they're one of the best teams in college football. Their losses have been unfortunate for them, but I do think that they're one of the top 25 schools.
And who is?
Mississippi State.
Now. Anybody that complains about SEC bias is just stupid. How many? And I would tell if Danny Cannell was sitting there, I guarantee I'd say the same thing. How many times do you have to see SEC teams dominate in the playoffs to accept that? What were they in bowl games last year? 7-2.
Yep.
And the Georgia. Once again, here's a fact that people don't want to acknowledge. Usually the SEC team in the Sugar Bowl doesn't want to be there.
Yes.
Because that means they didn't make the playoff. And Georgia beat a Cincinnati team that everyone was trying to pump up as a national championship contender last year. And I know it was on a last-second field goal, but you know what they always forget to point out was that Georgia – lost a fumble in the end zone. They're going to score. Georgia was a better team than Cincinnati. Cincinnati had everything to play for. Georgia had nothing to play for. Cincinnati was playing to say, I told you so. Georgia was like, okay, here we are.
Didn't Georgia miss a lot of players in that game as well?
I think so. I know they did when they played Texas, but that's another story.
Right.
Anyway, I was hearing all Liberty. Liberty was being pumped up a couple of weeks ago. Then they go to Ole Miss and get beat. You see it all the time. Does that mean if you play really well that you can't beat an SEC team? No. I mean, of course you can. But again, Alabama won the national championship last year. LSU the year before that. You're always seeing an SEC team, seems like at least in the final.
Yeah. And the teams that have won in other conferences have had a special quarterback typically. Deshaun Watson, Trevor Lawrence. I'm trying to think. Way back in the day, Jameis in Florida. I mean, sometimes it takes a dynamic quarterback, Cam Newton, all these quarterbacks throughout the years.
Well, and of course, he's a SEC guy.
SEC guy, yeah. But what I guess my point is dynamic quarterbacks to win.
The only one that didn't was Ohio State. And they were down to their third-string quarterback. Remember that?
That's right.
But they just gave the ball to Ezekiel Elliott all the way down the
That's
field.
right. Yep, that's right. Is that the year that they shouldn't have gotten in?
Yes.
Yeah.
And then they won it.
Of course they did. That's what happens. Let's go around and say hello and go to the News and Social Center. Anna Rosa Peterson, good morning to you.
Good morning. Oh, that was disgusting.
That was not good. It's back. Hey.
Excuse me.
Sound like me in the morning.
I know. I really do. We already have quite a few texters echoing Olin's remark on how much he loathes Suddenlink. And we also have one texter responding to our topic of the day, John in Cyprus, who says, not surprised being behind Wisconsin. Bay, LOL. Being 11 is funny, but Notre Dame being 8 is ridiculous because they lost to Cincinnati. No way they are top 10. Why are they always propped up? They play nobody and get destroyed in the college football playoff.
The only reason is because of their history, and if A&M wins a couple national championships, they will be regarded in similar territory. By the way, if Clemson wins this weekend, they're moving into the top 25. I know that they've had a rough year. I think they're 7-3, but they get Wake Forest this weekend, and that defense is still very salty.
Yeah, the defense is good. Their offense is terrible. Wake Forest's offense is outstanding. Their defense is terrible. So that might actually be a very interesting game to watch.
Yep. Hey, Anna Rosa, it's time for the word of the week. And the word of the week is typically something that is hip, that the youngsters are using, and we try to get OB to use it in a sentence.
Yes, so today's word of the week is ick. I'm sure you've heard that word.
Ick, like it's gross.
Yes, that is true.
Am I right?
But it has taken on a new meaning. I mean, yes, something that grosses you out. But in this reference, it is mainly something that would kind of turn you off or make you not romantically interested in someone. And I know that that's not groundbreaking, but it has taken on just a full new meaning, how girls like to use it now, relating to embarrassing things guys do that are really not that embarrassing, but they have just taken and run with it on the internet. An example would be when they push a pull door. Or when they say a joke again a little bit louder because
Well,
they thought no one heard them.
Rewind. Push a pull door is an ick.
Yes.
That's just an accident.
I mean, it depends on who you ask, but I have a list
Do you know what
here
she's talking about? You know, when you get to the bank and you're like trying to go in and you push it, but it's one of these open ones. Like,
yeah, that's so embarrassing.
I don't want to date that lady anyway.
Yeah, why is that embarrassing?
What a loser lady.
I'm not the one who makes
not
the rules.
you. I'm not calling you. Yeah. I'm saying the ick lady.
The ick lady, whoever defines this as an ick, and apparently it is. And the next example I have is when they say a joke again, a little bit louder, because they thought no one heard them.
Oh, so ick. Oh,
and
my God.
Nobody didn't laugh.
So ick.
Yeah.
I've got words from my, from my generation for people like that.
What's that word?
Well, I won't say it on
You won't say it on the air? So use it in a sentence, OB.
My word or theirs?
Yeah.
Ick. Try ick.
Those who use the word ick are ick.
Okay. I was looking for a little bit more art in there, but I'm going to say my bae is so ick because he eats his apples so loud. Like, when people chew really loud, you can hear it. Like, that's ick.
Right. Or when people
You gave me
think
a
that
courtesy
ice in
laugh.
my veins is a new concept, that's pretty ick, too.
That is very
So.
ick. Why did you give me a courtesy laugh and not a legit laugh? You were like, hi, I got to laugh at the host.
Well, it's just what comes with the job. I got to make you feel good.
Thank you.
I used to like to watch the Cincinnati Bengals running back Icky Woods.
Icky Woods and the Icky Shuffle.
Yeah.
No chance she knows about Icky Woods.
No chance.
Do you?
No chance.
Google him and watch. No, go to YouTube and watch him for a little bit.
Yeah,
I'll do that during the break.
Do that and tell me what you think about his dancing. That was such an ick segment. Right now, let's talk about Caldwell Country Chevrolet, Highway 21 in Caldwell, online, CaldwellCountryChevrolet.com. Nothing ick about it there. In fact, they're the opposite of ick. They are like, hey, let's go. It's go time there at Caldwell Country. The best service, the best vehicles, the best prices, you name it. Zach Hester and his crew, just an incredible group of guys that give you the best quality and the best service out there. So when you're looking for a new vehicle, we use the internet, go on Google, look for that's fine. You can do all that and compare. I encourage you to do that. Go to CaldwellCountryChevrolet.com. Start looking there. You don't see what you want? Call them up. Say, hey, I am looking for this kind of car. Can you hook me up? And they're going to try to find you that right vehicle. They have great service, great people, and someone you can trust. You're not going to be haggled when you walk in there. It's Caldwell Country Chevrolet, 15 minutes, Brian to Caldwell, just a short conversation away. But you're going to see the difference when you step on the lot and start doing business with Zach and the fellas. Go check them out, Highway 21 in Caldwell and online, CaldwellCountryChevrolet.com.
Find out the latest contests, promotions, and events for 1150 AM and 93.7 FM. Log on to thezone1150.com.
This Christmas, Hope marches on. The Salvation Army, in partnership with Bryan Broadcasting, present Angel Tree. You can support a local child in need by adopting an angel from the angel trees located in the Post Oak Mall food court, all Blue Baker restaurants, or online at salvationarmybcs.org. Select your angel, shop for their gifts, and return them with the angel tag attached by December 13th. Through your support, Hope marches on. For more information or to volunteer, visit salvationarmybcs.org.
The small Texas town of Llano is where it all began. The Wooten family created Cooper's old-time pit barbecues, mouth-watering recipes, and cowboy-style cooked barbecue. Decades later, you can still get the same great recipes, cooked exactly the same way by the same family, right here in College Station. Dine in, curbside pickup, or catered. Experience the taste of locally Aggie-owned, nationally recognized Cooper's old-time pit barbecue. Voted best barbecue in the Brazos Valley and proud supporter of Texas A&M athletics.
The Bellucci Hour Happy Hour is a must part of any Aggie football season. Join Billy Lucci of TexAgs and Zach Taylor, the Infomaniac, every Monday and Thursday at 6 at the Tap, or listen in right here on Sports Radio 1150 AM and 93.7 FM. The Bellucci Hour Happy Hour every Monday, Thursday at 6 is brought to you by King Ranch Saddle Shop. Also brought to you in part by B&B Automotive. It's the Bellucci Hour Happy Hour.
The flagship station for Aggie Athletics is The Zone. Whenever the Aggies are playing, you can hear them right here at 1150 and 93.7 FM. Thanks to our listeners and our Aggie broadcast sponsors, Schulte Roofing, Prosperity Bank, Hargrove Insurance, and Rudy's Barbecue. Here's a big gig 'em to all these sponsors. Listen to Aggie Athletics on the Zone 1150 and 93.7 FM.
Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max.
Former Packers defensive back Leroy Butler joins us. What do you think, Aaron Rodgers, from where you're sitting, what does it look like, his future? Where do you think all that is right now?
Well, the future's Jordan Love. This is an isolated year. They're going to try to go all in to win the Super Bowl. But the future has to be number 10. I mean, it really is. And I think next year they'll try to get Aaron Rodgers in there. They'll sit down. Where do you want to go? And they'll try to trade him and see if it works out. I think this is the 1 year they have to move on and say, when do we think about the future? We don't want to be like the Saints. We don't want to be like the Washington football team. We don't want to be like some of these other franchises that don't have a quarterback. We don't want to be like that. We want to be good now and in the future. And I think Jordan Love clock starts next year.
It's Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max, powered by WC Tractor, here on Sports Radio 1150 AM and 93.7 FM.
Welcome back, TexAgs Radio, presented by David Garner's Jewelers. I'm going to the A&B text line. So yesterday, John in Cyprus was upset with me for not reading enough text messages. So today he gets the first text message. Not because he was upset with me, but just because he's the first one that I see. And, you know, Anna Rosa Peterson refused to read it earlier. He says, I'm just kidding. J&C says, not surprised being behind Wisconsin. Once we lost, the Powers will bury us. Happens all the time. Baylor being an 11 is funny, but Notre Dame being 8 is ridiculous. They lost to Cincinnati. No way they're top 10. Why are they always propped up? Oh, I guess you did kind of read that.
I was going to say.
Oh, goodness gracious. I'm glad I read
was like,
that.
were you referring to the Uncle Gary voice?
Well, then I was going to follow it up with this, J&C. Did Nuno do Uncle Gary's voice and no one caught it? Who's Uncle Gary?
I don't know.
Do we know who Uncle Gary is?
I have no idea.
I did a Mean Girls voice, I thought. Oh, my goodness, it's so uncool. Isn't that like a Mean Girl? You guys are just not a good...
I don't know.
I don't like you guys. Nobody laughs at my stuff.
That sounded like the Valley Girl thing.
Oh, my God.
Frank Zappa's song.
Yes. All right, so now that I reread a text message and I'm not paying attention to my own show, let's continue on with the program, OB. We got to do games that we want to see this weekend as I let you get that ready for us here on TexAgs Radio, presented by David Garner's Jewelers in the Rollo Insurance Studio. As a reminder, you can call the BCSI hotline 979-693-1150. All right, OB, where do you want to begin?
Well, I'm going to start with one we've already talked about a little bit, that number 12 Wake Forest at Clemson. You know, like we said, that the Wake Forest scores in bunches but gives up points in bunches, and Clemson doesn't score but doesn't give up points. So irresistible force, immovable object kind of thing. And Clemson's still alive in that race.
Yes, they are.
It's kind of an outside deal, but if they beat Wake Forest, they can, they may be able to back into the ACC championship game. Number 3, Oregon is at number 24, Utah. I think that's probably a preview of the Pac-12 championship game.
Could be.
Could have some. I wouldn't be surprised if Utah wins that. Not at all, which would knock Oregon out of the playoff picture probably.
It's funny, like I would have a problem with Ohio State being ahead of Oregon because of the head-to-head, but it's kind of different than the Michigan State situation where that was so early on. Ohio State hadn't found themselves yet at that game, and I think Oregon has not been impressive since.
They haven't. I would ask you, what's the big win that Ohio State has had?
They don't have one, and this next stretch is going to be where it determines. If they do go through Michigan State and Michigan,
then win the
Big Ten championship
over probably Wisconsin,
then I would say, all right, they've earned it.
Yeah,
but they're not there today in my mind.
Well, and again, in my mind, if the records are the same, and you got a head-to-head.
Yep.
Okay, that's the way I look at it. Okay, then SMU's at Cincinnati. The Bearcats have been largely unimpressive the last 3 games. Would you not agree?
Yeah, I 100% agree. I do think this. I've started to change a little bit on Cincinnati. If they do win out and they do beat a pretty good SMU team, beat a pretty good U of H team, I might look at them a little different than I did earlier in the season. I don't know if that makes them one of the 4 best teams in the country. I'm just saying I think I would.
Didn't UH lose to like Texas Tech?
Early in the season, yeah, they did.
Yeah.
Yeah, they did. And Texas Tech is terrible.
Right. So, see, it's just such a big difference in the caliber of competition, especially when you're facing it every week. But that said, I think SMU and UH are going to be their best teams they've faced, aside from Notre Dame.
Yes. If they do win those games convincingly, would you give them more benefit of the doubt or no, because their schedule is their schedule?
I think that they don't belong. I don't think they're one of the 4 best teams. I'm not even sure if they're one of the 10 best teams. But I believe if they go undefeated, that the committee's going to have an awful hard time taking, say, a 2-loss Alabama over an undefeated team, especially with all the pressure they get. Now, the worst thing that could happen to Cincinnati is for Alabama to beat Georgia. Because then you got a 1-loss Georgia and a 1-loss Alabama. Those you're not going to take those teams out.
And somebody from the Big Ten's going.
And somebody from the Big Ten's going. Then you're looking around at Oregon. You're looking around at
maybe
the
Oklahoma
Big 12.
State.
You're looking around at the ACC.
Yeah.
Notre Dame, of course, they always have the edge on Notre Dame. So would a 1-loss Wake Forest get chosen over an unbeaten Cincinnati?
Who wins that game? How about that?
Maybe Cincinnati does, because I'm not bought in on Wake Forest. Okay, so that's then number 25 Arkansas, number 2 Alabama.
There was a time I was banking on Arkansas to win this game for A&M's chances.
Just the fact that you think that Arkansas has a chance to win it makes that interesting, right?
Yeah, but I think it was Shireen yesterday, and a couple other people have said that the difference with Alabama has been the quarterback play this year. The dude's the front runner for the Heisman. I think he's been really good, especially for being a redshirt freshman.
I think their issue is their defense isn't dominant at all. It's okay, and their offensive line is subpar.
And they're now down to 1 running back and like linebackers helping out at that position now.
And Arkansas is no longer a pushover. So I would still take Alabama, but I think it's an interesting game to watch. And then, the number 1 game to me is number 7 Michigan State, number 4 Ohio State.
Yep.
I still have questions about how good both teams are, but Ohio State's defense has been, you can score on them. That's Kenneth Walker. Now, can Michigan State slow down Ohio State?
The winner of that game, depending on how they play, the Heisman contender on that team becomes the front runner between those two to get invited to New York. Would you agree? Kenneth Walker,
you said
CJ
depends
Stroud.
on how they play. If Kenneth Walker runs for 150 yards in a losing effort, and maybe it's because the Ohio State quarterback help me out.
CJ Stroud.
Yeah, maybe he's having a great game, but what if he's having an average game, but their running game is picking it up?
Sure.
Henderson. So, it kind of depends on how it all works out, but it definitely could be. I mean, if CJ Stroud has a big game against Michigan State, again, you have to look at that and say, hey, what did he do in the most high-profile games?
Let me ask you this, going back to Cincinnati for a second. If Cincinnati somehow got into the 4 and they were able to win a playoff game, whoever it may be, I don't think they will, but let's just, for the exercise,
sake of discussion,
what does that do for the group of 5 moving forward? Does it open up a door more because Cincinnati was able to do what Central Florida wasn't able to do a couple years back? They didn't get in, but I still don't think they would have had a chance in those games. But regardless of that, if they're able to win a playoff game, how does it change the way group of 5s are looked at moving forward?
I think what it does is it expedites the 12-team playoff. See, I don't believe we would have had a 4-team playoff if TCU, I believe, well, first of all, we wouldn't have a 4-team playoff if 2 teams from the SEC had not played for the national championship, LSU and Alabama. That's when it got things going. I believe that TCU didn't get a chance back when Andy Dalton was their quarterback. They won the Rose Bowl over Wisconsin. There were some bizarre things going on with the BCS then. I believe that everything was stacked so TCU couldn't get in.
Right.
Because if TCU got in and that team was capable of winning a national championship, if they got in and won it, then you would have had to break everything down. And I think the people in charge knew that TCU had a chance to win it, so they couldn't allow him to get in there and have a chance to break everything down. I think if Cincinnati gets into the playoff and then wins a game, you have to break everything down. And so what it does is it expedites the 12-team playoff.
When we come back, I want to go through some best case, worst case scenarios, go through some bowl projections, and I'm going to bring up one Jimbo tweet just because I want to get upset for a few seconds. You can get upset too. It's somebody who I shouldn't even acknowledge, but sometimes I like a jump-off point, okay? Sometimes I just like to read something just to get upset, and I'm not going to get like upset, not one of those rants, but I just like to say it just to see how people respond because I don't know what it is. I just want to. But before we do that, let's talk a little bit about Elms Orthodontics, Dr. Elms and Dr. Stewart over there on the bypass in College Station. And if you are like at work and you kind of, I don't know, when do you smile? Like I'm not a big smiler, but when I do smile, I want it to look good, right? And like I've got that resting upset face. I know there's another term that people use. Every once in a while, I'll pull out those pearly whites. And I had Invisalign years ago, made a huge difference in my confidence with my smile. But that being said, I'm still not a big smiler, but I want it to look good, and that's what they do there at Elms Orthodontics. You can get braces, you can get Invisalign. It doesn't matter what stage of life you're in. My kids are going through that phase right now. Annalise is 10. She'll probably need some braces here soon enough. The twins are in the middle of it. It is what it is, and Dr. Stewart and Dr. Elms are going to get it done for you. They are the best when it comes to that in the Brazos Valley. Not hard to find right there in the bypass in College Station. Go check them out, 1501 Emerald Parkway in College Station. The phone number for Elms Orthodontics, 979-693-6300, or learn more online at drelms.com.
I'm Chelsea Reber with your community calendar on The Zone. Bethany Baptist Church is providing free meals to residents and businesses in Robertson County on the Saturday before Thanksgiving. Come eat at the Fellowship Hall or call 279-2196 to register for meal delivery. The NAMI Connection Recovery Support Group is a confidential support group for any adult who's experienced symptoms of a mental health condition. The group meets Thursday evenings. Find out more at NAMIBV.org. Every Thursday morning from 8 to 10, all veterans and family members of veterans are welcome for coffee and donuts at American Legion Post 159 on Highway 21. Find out more about current and upcoming events and exhibitions at the University Art Galleries in the MSC. Go online to uart.tamu.edu. Win a pair of tickets to the A&M Prairie View game Saturday from T-Mobile, the official 5G provider of the SEC and the Louis Bellina Show. Go now to zone1150.com and enter for a chance to win. I'm Chelsea Reber on The Zone.
Here's Brad Beard of Intercon.
If you have considered replacing the windows in your brick veneer home, you may have been told that it would be necessary to either remove the brick or tear up the inside of your window box. You need to know that Intercon replaces windows and brick every day, and we don't tear up anything except the window which is being removed. By installing windows every day, Intercon personnel have worked out methods which result in the replacement windows being at least as neat and effectively installed as your windows were when they were new. This means that Intercon can furnish and install replacement windows which exceed today's tighter standards for efficiency. They look and perform just as well as the best windows in brand new homes. Call Intercon or visit our showroom and we will furnish you customer references for homes you can look at. And homeowners you probably know can tell you that Intercon can solve your window problems without wrecking your home or your budget, just as we did theirs. Intercon will furnish a free quote, and we won't pressure you to buy.
Whether you have new construction or an existing home, let the fine folks from Intercon help your home energy efficiency year-round. Call Brad Beard of Intercon today at 823-3639. That's 823-3639.
When seconds matter in the game, every single decision made can mean a big win or a frustrating loss. When it comes to buying your next home and selling your existing home in the current market, every decision can mean serious money. Aggie fans, it's Dave South, and as you know, I've studied the best players and the best teams to represent our A&M family. One thing I've learned over the years, the best coaches have the respect of their team and the 12th man, you, the fans. In Bryan College Station, no realtor has more 5-star reviews on Google than Lance Lester and his team at the Lester Group. Why is that? Simple. No one offers more options that benefit you. If you want to buy your next home before you sell your current home, Lance can help you do that. If you want to know the date and price that you can count on your home selling for, Lance can guarantee it in writing. When the game is on the line, you want a leader with a proven track record calling the shots. Get your home sold faster and for the most money. Work with my friend Lance Lester and the Lester Group. Go to thelestergroup.com. That's thelestergroup.com and experience lightning in a bottle selling your home.
Good morning. TexAgs Radio, presented by Dave Garner's Jewelers here in the Rollo Insurance Studio. Let me do this. Let me tell you guys what we have planned throughout the show. Obviously, Obie and I are going to finish out the 8 o'clock hour with the Go Hour. Chris Landry, straight up 9:05, giving his thoughts on what happened. We're going to run a little chunk with our interview with Josh Pate that's going to run tonight on Up to the Second College Football. That show is released at 5 o'clock, texags.com or our YouTube channel to check it out. Of course, all your podcasts as well, wherever you get those. We're going to run about 8 or 9 minutes of that. Really good stuff from him. Always love talking to Josh, who's got a lot of love for A&M. And in fact, talks about our TexAgs audience, too, in that interview. So you want to check that out. 9:35, Gary Blair in studio. 9:50, Bird Coon in studio. 10:05, Ryan Broninger in studio. And somehow, some way, the Gabe Cation is back. Gabe Baku with his 4 downs this week. Maybe not next week, but we got him this week. So an intimate affair with Gabe Bach here at 10:35.
You're saying you're going from bird to turd to nerd?
Did you work on that, or you just
came along?
See, this is why you're good. Hey, so I want you to respond to this, and I want our listeners, viewers, everybody on the CW8 or watching on YouTube, texags.com, to respond to this. And it's not to get you heated. It's maybe a little bit. Just quickly. RJ Young. First off, who is RJ Young? I know who he is because he tweets stuff every week, and I'm like, what is he doing? But he's got a following. I think he's a Fox Sports personality. Is that right? But you know who I'm talking about, right?
I thought he was the car insurance guy, but then it turned out that wasn't the case.
Wait, think Young. Rodney D. Young.
Yeah,
there you go. No, this is RJ Young. And by the way, for insurance, check out Jason Rollo. That's my guy. Jackson Rollo as well over there, Rollo Insurance here in College Station. Yeah, sometimes I get paid. I know there's my friend listening right now, Kelly, who's like, Kelly Adams always makes fun of my segues. He's like, terrible. That was a good one.
That was a good one.
I hope I get a text from him. All right, RJ Young says, wrote last month that the only person who gets to say no to an LSU interview is Nick Saban. Everybody else will pick up the phone.
I can pick up the phone and say, yeah. No, Scott, yeah, I don't want to be anywhere else. I ain't going nowhere. I'd be the dumbest man on God's earth to recruit this class and then go over there.
Let me ask you a question. Be careful how you answer, but I know how you're going to answer. If Orange Bloods calls you tomorrow, you'll probably answer your phone, but you're not going to Orange Bloods.
No.
Okay. If
I would go to Lucci and say, Orange Blood offered me this much. You think you could match?
Lucci would be like, bye.
Yeah, he would.
See ya. Okay.
He'd say, I'll take you to lunch.
Tiger droppings. Look, I really do believe this. We don't know what's in someone's heart, right? So for people to say, he would absolutely take that job. And I'm not even talking about Jimbo here. I'm talking about any top coach. No, you don't necessarily. Some people value quality of life. Hello? Some people don't want to live in Baton Rouge. Some people don't want to deal with that administration. Some people just don't want to deal with it. Not everybody's going to take that phone call. It's not that simple. It's not like, LSU, everyone's going to answer that phone call.
Well, I think quality of life is what you're talking about. I'm not saying that quality of life in Baton Rouge is bad. I enjoy the food over there. I like the casinos. I like Louisiana people. Not so much when they're together. I've always said Louisiana people are kind of like fertilizer. Spread them out, does a lot of good. Put them all together, it's kind of smelly and gross.
Right.
But I like Louisiana people. But just because there's some nice things about Louisiana doesn't mean I'm going to leave, Texas. What you've got here, that great ranch. But beyond that, what you have here, what Jimbo is building. What he has laid the foundation for, like you said, the recruiting class, the facilities that are even going to be upgraded. I don't know how you upgrade on those facilities.
But they're doing it.
How do you upgrade that? That's like I don't know. I was going to make an analogy, but if somebody would be offended by it.
Political analogy, or
no? I was going to make more of somebody would say it's sexist, but like if you're the most attractive person in the world, and you decide you need some plastic surgery to get even better.
Like, how do you make The Godfather better? You can't. It is what it is. Okay, the bad comparison by me.
Great movie though.
Great movie, Mario Puzo. And I don't know why I used an accent there. But everybody, Nick Saban might answer the phone, by the way, because you're friends with these people. So answering the phone doesn't, but like to be really interested, do I think Dabo is going to be interested in LSU if they call him? No, I don't think so.
No, when you got something already built, why?
Yeah, there's.
By the way, if Scott and Jimbo are such close friends that they have to work together, why did Scott leave?
I don't know.
Why does Jimbo have to follow him? Why didn't he stay because of Jimbo was already being here, right?
Right.
So, that kind of takes that narrative out as well.
My dear friend is Raheel. I don't know if you heard me talk about Raheel. We did radio together. We've done TV together. I can work at another place. We did a show together. It was great. I'd love to work with him again. I'm not following him to Orange Bloods. And we're dear friends. He can come here. That's fine.
I worked 2 years separate from my wife.
Right. It can be done.
Of course, I think she enjoyed that. But anyway, yeah, it can be done. Besides, most of us have our friends that we go visit 2 or 3 times a year, I think.
Sure. And I think I bring this guy up because he doesn't typically like A&M. Although he thinks there should be a 16-team playoff and A&M being number 16, but that's regardless of it. Sometimes people just put stuff out there for a response, and I took the bait and I responded, and I think it's dumb.
That's today's journalism.
Yeah.
Or what passes us today's journalism.
Whatever it is. Best case, worst case scenario. All right, I'm going to go ahead and assume that they're going to beat Prairie View this weekend. Okay.
I heard your guy Cannell actually predicted a Prairie View upset.
No, he didn't. Did he really?
Somebody said that on our TexAgs message boards.
He said that?
Somebody said that on our Texas.
Wow. Okay. Well, if he did,
that's yeah.
Okay.
By the way, I heard someone say, "Well, they're trying to bounce back against Prairie." You don't bounce back against Prairie View.
You bounce back against LSU.
LSU.
Yep. So you get right against Prairie View. You work on.
You work on. It's a glorified practice. Sorry, Prairie View. I'm not trying to be mean to you. I respect you. Got a great stadium out there. I've often wanted to stop on the way to Houston and kind of look around and everything. You have great history, but you're out of your league. You got beat by 37 by Incarnate Word. You're not going to beat A&M.
No, you're not. You're not going to beat A&M. So best case, worst case scenario. If they go 1-1, if they go 2-0. What is because I've got not all the bowl projections. I'll read them to you,
okay.
And then we'll kind of go through the best case, worst case scenario. CBS has A&M taking on Iowa in the Citrus Bowl.
Okay, I think that's probably a best case scenario at this time.
Yep. And also, College Football News has A&M in the Citrus Bowl taking on Wisconsin.
I've always said this since 2012 when A&M joined the SEC. You are not A&M. You are not a fully vested SEC team until you beat a Big Ten team in a bowl game as an SEC team.
So you need to go do that.
So
this
that's
year.
that would be that'd be a great accomplishment. That would make you you're already one of the guys, right? You're already in the fraternity or whatever, but I guess there's something.
You become a made man.
Yeah, you become a made. Thank you.
Yeah.
There's
yeah. You want to be
David
a
with the Mafia. Yes,
yeah.
You are right.
Yeah.
You become a made man when you beat a Big Ten team in the.
You're not just a soldier.
No.
Right now now you got to ask for permission to get killed.
Right. Yeah. You're not. What's his name in Goodfellas?
I don't
Joe
remember.
Pesci when he gets shot because he thinks he's a made man. No, you are the real made man. You can still get killed,
but you got to ask for permission.
Right.
La Cosa Nostra. All right. Also, have you noticed all my accents sound the same? Doesn't matter if I'm doing Russian, Spanish, or Italian.
I haven't heard Russian yet.
Well, it's the same.
Okay.
Citrus Bowl also. Citrus Bowl or the other one Citrus Bowl is Orlando. Excuse me. A&M versus Iowa. A&M versus Wisconsin. That's from the ESPN guys, Bonagura and Schlabach.
And they also have them in the Cap One or the
Citrus Bowl.
Citrus.
Yep. And then 247 Sports have them in the Outback Bowl taking on Iowa. So basically,
Florida.
Yeah, Florida, and basically against the Big Ten team, it's how they see it. But if you lose LSU,
if you lose to LSU,
where are they playing in your opinion?
And
is best case going to be Citrus Bowl? Worst case, I don't think it's going to be Texas Bowl.
No, I think LSU's Texas Bowl.
Yeah.
Because if they win, they're probably 6-6, so they're just getting in. And they probably would want to go to the Texas Bowl in Houston to recruit some guys, which so beat them and then maybe they're not even bowl eligible. Nashville, Music City Bowl if you lose. That's what I'm guessing.
Yeah.
Even though the Music City Bowl kind of likes Kentucky because they can bring a whole lot of people without having to drive too far. I don't think you're going to get stuck in Memphis in the Liberty Bowl. I think you have to look at the bad teams that are going to get in to bowl games and see where they may go.
Got a text message from my buddy Alex Sullins who says, how do you make The Godfather better? Godfather 2. Godfather 2 is great.
I still think the original was better.
I don't know, man. Godfather. It's like a lot of people pick Rocky 1 over 2. I kind of like Rocky 2 better than Rocky 1. Rocky 1's a better story, but I left. You got to remember, Rocky 2 came out and I was 5, I think. What was it, 1980? I was 4. But Rocky 1 and Rocky 2, that was great. Like, in Rocky 1, he was kind of dumb. He got smarter. As the movies went on, he got smarter, then he got dumber.
I don't know, I'd have to think on that, what sequel was ever better than the original. Or, the sequel. I would have to think on that. But
Godfather 2 is close.
It was great, but it's not better than the original.
De Niro and Pacino at their peak?
It was not a better movie than the first.
Who was a better Vito Corleone, Robert De Niro or Marlon Brando?
Oh, Brando.
I don't know, man. Brando was great. I don't know. This became Godfather Radio.
It was completely different guys. One's an old guy, one's a young guy.
The worst Michael Corleone is Godfather 3. What Al Pacino did to that role with the flat top and changed his style ruined it.
Well, plus it was a hard story to follow.
Yeah, it was Vatican and all that. Yeah. But you know what? I thought Andy Garcia was great in that movie. But that's because he's Cuban and I like Cubans. Remind you to text radio to 833-638-6248 for your chance to win the big Friday giveaway, courtesy of our friends at Aggieland Outfitters. And we're going to unveil that winner during the 10 o'clock hour of Friday's show. Obie, I can see you rocking this. Like this black hat?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of this one. You got to check it out no matter what your activity is when you're out and about. Hot, cold. It's a very breathable, comfortable hat, waterproof. It's got black. It's got the maroon on it. The A&M Lone Star logo on the front features the adjustable buckle strap to get the perfect fit. It is the A&M Adidas Lone Star waterproof hat, retail value of $32.99. You'll want to go check it out. And as a reminder, Aggieland Outfitters has a big event with Johnny Manziel signing on December 2nd from 4 o'clock to 7 o'clock at the University Drive location. Disclaimer, guys, 2 items per person only, though. It's Johnny Manziel sign day, December 2nd at Aggieland Outfitters.
Your home for Texas A&M football is Sports Radio 1150 AM and 93.7 FM. The Zone. The Zone.
Since 1957, Slovakic Sausage in Snook has been making the best tasting sausage in Texas from the same family recipe. Slovakic is the official sausage of Texas A&M athletics. Whether it's from the grill to the family gathering or from the pit to the neighborhood party, serve the sausage voted best in the Brazos Valley. Serve Slovakic. Be sure to come in and check out their full-service meat market, relax on the front porch, or grab some fresh kolaches from their bakery on your way out. Slovakic Sausage, Highway 60 in Snook.
Howdy, this is Steve Bledsoe, fighting TexAgs class of 83, with some exciting news. Veribank is now open with our new full-service location on Highway 6 in College Station. With personal bankers, business bankers, Veribank has everything you need in one convenient location. Come see for yourself where genuine banking is waiting for you, and you can bank on it.
Visit Verabank.com today. That's VERA Bank.com. Verabank, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
At Social Security, we are always thinking of ways to save you time and make things easier. That's why we created My Social Security. Opening a My Social Security account gives you secure access to your personal record and interactive tools tailored for you. You can see if you are eligible to receive benefits, view spousal benefit estimates, and compare retirement benefit estimates at different ages or dates when you want to start receiving benefits. Already receiving benefits? Use your account to change your address, set up or change direct deposit, get a proof of income letter, and more. In most states, you can also request a replacement Social Security card. Save time. Go online. Open a My Social Security account at ssa.gov/myaccount. Social Security. Securing today and tomorrow.
Produced at U.S. taxpayer expense.
The flagship station for Aggie Athletics is The Zone. Whenever the Aggies are playing, you can hear them right here at 1150 and 93.7 FM. Thanks to our listeners and our Aggie broadcast sponsors, Schulte Roofing, Prosperity Bank, Hargrove Insurance, and Rudy's Barbecue. Here's a big gig 'em to all these sponsors. Listen to Aggie Athletics on The Zone 1150 and 93.7 FM.
I would like to invite you out for lunch with Louie this Friday from the T-Mobile on Texas Avenue in Lincoln. The Louie Bellina Show will be live. You can stop by, say hi. We've got free pizza from Howdy's, and you can win great prizes like tickets to Fiesta Texas, tickets to the Texas Renaissance Festival, Zone T-shirts, and Rudy $50 gift cards. It's lunch with Louie this Friday from 11 to 2 at the T-Mobile on Texas Avenue and Lincoln. See you there.
You can read it. I like when I say things that aren't supposed to be on the air getting on the air, except if we say something bad. It's TexAgs Radio, here with my quiet voice, The Quiet Storm here, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers in the Rollo Insurance Studio. We got some text messages. I don't want to upset the people that say I don't read enough. We'll get to those here in a moment. But my memory started working after we talked about the best sequels of all time. So, to me, The Dark Knight. Is your mic on? Is your foot on the thing or your leg? Check.
Dark Knight.
The Dark Knight with Heath Ledger.
I can see that.
That is, have you seen it?
I saw the first one.
The Batman Begins? Phenomenal.
You know, with Heath Ledger as the...
Oh, that's Dark Knight. Yeah. That's the sequel. That's part 2 to Batman Begins.
Oh, okay. So, yeah, I'll give you that one.
Yeah.
And I've got Christmas Vacation was better than Vacation.
I'm going to one-up you and say Home Alone 2 is better than Home Alone.
No.
Yes,
no,
absolutely.
no,
any day.
no.
Jamie in the
Every
house.
day, 365 days out of the year is better.
No.
By the way, speaking of Home Alone, why are my hands up in the air like I'm Elaine from Seinfeld? My kids just watched the newest Home Alone. It's a British version of Home Alone that's on, I think, Disney Plus. They said terrible. Same plot as the first one, except with a British kid. I don't know why I share that information. Just wanted to let people know.
It's about Christmas time.
All right, I'm going to throw you some other sequels because it is... We got to talk football. I apologize. Chris Landry's coming up soon. Terminator 2?
Yeah, that was good, but I don't think it was better than the first.
What else?
Mamma Mia 2.
I would be lost. I didn't see it. Actually, my kids love Mamma Mia.
I love that sequel.
Empire
Mamma
Strikes
Mia
Back.
2 is way better than the first one.
I agree. Thanks,
Okay.
Jamie.
Didn't see it either. I'll take your word for it.
Empire Strikes Back.
Didn't see it.
Rambo Part 2.
No.
Come on now.
Come on. First Blood?
First
Man,
Blood.
that was a great movie.
It was a great movie. It was.
And he was just a regular guy.
David, I completely agree. Empire's better than Star Wars.
See, now everybody's involved.
It's the best of all 9 movies in the saga, period.
People were ignoring me this morning. I said hi to Richard. He kind of gave me a head nod. I said, you want to do some radio? He's like, no. Jamie is like, hey, stop moving. I bring up movies, and all of a sudden, I'm a popular friend.
It gets the people going.
Everybody has
sure.
an opinion on this one.
Spider-Man 2?
Probably. I don't know. Is that wait? Which one had Willem Dafoe in it?
That was
the original.
That was the Tobey Maguire version of Batman, or excuse me, Spider-Man. I thought they were all average at best. This newer version is better, and they're all going to make an appearance in the next one.
Okay.
So should we move on now?
Yes, let's move on.
Let's go to the A&B text line. Anna Rosa Peterson. The people are asking. They're craving some messages. Give it to us.
All right, I'll give it to you. So we got an anonymous texter who says Jimbo has stated repeatedly that he ain't going anywhere. RJ Young is an Aggie hater, not a reporter. His statement is simply Aggieland provocative. He's poking a skunk. The end.
Yeah, I don't know the guy, and we live in a different world of journalism and a different world where people find their self-worth by likes and retweets and all that good stuff. My daughters, who are 10 and 8, they want to have like a TikTok account. I'm like, heck no, because your self-worth is not based on, A, I don't believe in social media for children, but B, this is how a lot of people grade their success in life. Let me put a random tweet about brushing my teeth and see how many people respond. RJ Young's doing that from a college football perspective to generate buzz and clicks, and I just don't roll like that, and I know you don't do that.
No, because I don't have any of those accounts.
You got a Twitter?
Well, I do have a Twitter, but I've been kind of shut down to a certain degree on that.
Well, but you don't do things.
I don't do it just to get clicks. I will.
You'll stir the pot sometimes.
I will, but because I will put out things that I believe.
Yeah.
Opinions.
A lot of text messages on the best sequels ever.
Like
Naked Gun 2.5, Drew in Waco.
Okay.
Leslie Nielsen. Is he still with us?
I don't know.
I liked him. Star Trek 2, The Wrath of Khan.
I didn't see either one of them.
Beverly Hills Cop 2.
Pretty good, but I still think the first one was better.
Pretty good. All right, OB. Appreciate you.
You bet.
All right, hour number 2 coming up. Chris Landry. Landry football. He'll give us his A&M scouting report. Josh Pate, we're going to run part of that interview from college or up to the second college football show. Gary Blair, Bird Kuhn are all coming in studio here next over the next hour on TexAgs Radio, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. Bye.
If you have a debit card, you're used to spending money. But what if your card actually ended up earning you money? That's not exactly normal, but that's what you can get at A&B. It's called Kasasa Cashback Checking. Don't mind the weird name. What you need to know is that it's a free account with cash rewards. Use your debit card for everyday purchases, and we'll pay you cash back every month. If that doesn't sound like normal banking, well, guess what? We're not a normal bank. So contact A&B today and ask for Kasasa or visit ANB.com. Equal housing lender, member FDIC.
Our publications reach every corner of the Brazos Valley, and we want to partner with you in sharing your message with the community. You may recognize a few of our Bryan Broadcasting publications.
Best of the Brazos Valley.
Brazos Life, the annual manual.
Welcome home, Brazos Valley.
Brazos Family. Brazos Wellness.
Brazos Valley Bride.
Peace, Brazos Christian Life.
With the combined power of 7 magazine titles, 11 radio stations, and digital solutions, Bryan Broadcasting Publications can help you be heard. Call 979-695-9595 to learn more.
Still hunting for the 10th dentist who would not recommend his show? Louis Bellina. Weekdays, 11 to 2 on The Zone, 11:50 a.m. and 93.7 FM. This is KZNE College Station, Bryan.
From WTAW, I'm Chelsea Reber with a news update on The Zone. Bryan City Councilmen had nothing to say before approving at their last meeting an economic development agreement with a current manufacturer at the Bryan Industrial Park.
American Lumber plans to more than double its manufacturing space with a 31,000 square foot addition to its present 24,000 square foot facility. 54,000 square feet of storage is also planned as part of a minimum $8 million project. 14 more full-time jobs would be created, which would bring the total workforce to 103. The council approved giving American Lumber up to $155,000 in property tax reimbursements and building permit fee waivers over a 5-year period. Bill Oliver, 1620 94.5 WTAW.
The Bryan City Council is told that raised medians have cut the crash rates by 2/3 in College Station along University and on Texas between Deacon and Harvey Mitchell. That was among the reasons a median will be built along Texas between Highway 21 and University. Public comments about the $31 million project are being taken during a TxDOT virtual meeting on December 8th. Brazos County Commissioners vote 3-2 to remove requirements to notify the Texas Department of Agriculture before 2 herbicides can be used on land south of College Station. Dr. Don Rinchie of Texas A&M's Agricultural and Environmental Safety Unit says the state notification before applying the chemicals 2,4-D and dicamba can be dropped because the land is no longer used to grow crops.
Primarily what we're talking about in Brazos County, all of that now is just individual home sites. They may be anywhere from 1 to 10 to 20 acres. They're all wooded home sites.
Local grape producer Paul Bonarigo says those chemicals can still drift across the Brazos River and affect Texas A&M research farms located in Burleson County. Commissioners Russ Ford and Steve Aldrich were defeated in their attempt to delay action until they could learn more. I'm Chelsea Reber on The Zone.
This Christmas, hope marches on. The Salvation Army, in partnership with Bryan Broadcasting, present Angel Tree. You can support a local child in need by adopting an angel from the angel trees located in the Post Oak Mall food court. All Blue Baker restaurants are online at salvationarmybcs.org. Select your angel, shop for their gifts, and return them with the angel tag attached by December 13th. Through your support, hope marches on. For more information or to volunteer, visit salvationarmybcs.org.
Shop local, buy local, save big deals.
It's not every day you can save money. Oh, wait, you can. Hi, Jenny here from Big Deals. When you shop Big Deals, you'll save money every day on dozens of gift certificates from local businesses like these.
C&J Barbecue, Aggieland Express Car Wash, Mineral Body Works, awards, and more, and more. Visit AggielandBigDeals.com to save big. AggielandBigDeals.com.
Good morning, sports fans. I'm Zach Taylor with your Aggie Sports Minute on The Zone. This Sports Minute is brought to you by Hilco Metal Roofing and Supply. Call 936-825-0500 or click HilcoSupply.com. Texas A&M football's dropped 5 spots to number 16 in this week's college football playoff poll. The slide comes following last week's 29-19 loss to Ole Miss, a game in which the Aggies threw the ball more times than they ran it. I asked Coach Jimbo Fisher if that was by design.
It's how your team's built, the way they are, and what goes on. And ideally, you like to have balance. Ideally, with this team, probably in that 24 to 28 range, throwing the football and running it. If you're running the ball with effectiveness and you're throwing it with effectiveness.
Jimbo and the guys will return home this Saturday to host Prairie View A&M. For a preview, tune into the Jimbo Fisher Coaches Show tonight from 8 to 9 on 1620 94.5 WTAW. Time for a sneak peek at the SEC, brought to you by T-Mobile. Georgia and Alabama remain 1-2 in the latest CFP poll. Ole Miss jumps to number 12, followed by A&M at 16, Arkansas at 21, and Mississippi State at 25. And that's been your SEC Sneak Peek, brought to you by T-Mobile, the official 5G sponsor of the SEC. Aggie men's basketball is back at Reed Arena today as it hosts Houston Baptist. Tip-off is at noon with broadcast on WTAW. And volleyball returns to action this evening as it entertains Arkansas at 7. And that's been your Aggie Sports Minute, brought to you by Hilco Metal Roofing and Supply. On The Zone, I'm Zach Taylor.
Aggie football game day on The Zone starts 3 hours before kickoff with the Twin Peaks pregame show powered by TexAgs.com. Game day on The Zone is brought to you in part by Higginbotham Insurance, Stephen Gustitis, attorney at law, Tradition, Mobile One Oil and Lube, and Gage Gandy Bail Bonds. After you listen to the Twin Peaks pregame show powered by TexAgs.com, listen to every single Aggie football game right here on Sports Radio 1150 AM and 93.7 FM.
And we're back, TexAgs Radio, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, here in the Rollo Insurance Studio. Hour number 1, mixed in with some football talk. We did some sequel talk. We're going to move on from that. Don't want to upset David and Brian. It's all right, though. If you want to be a part of the conversation, you can do that on the A&B text line, 979-693-1150, or you can call us on the BCSI hotline, 979-693-1150. Before we do that, let's talk to our good buddy, Chris Landry from LandryFootball.com here with the Texas A&M Scouting Report. Good morning to you, Chris.
Morning, David. How are you?
I'm good, man. I don't know how much you get into the bowl projections and whatnot, but I'm just going to read this text and we can just kind of talk about it real quick. Earlier in the show, we were breaking down the potential best case, worst case scenarios for A&M when it comes to the bowl. And we've had the Florida Bowls as a possibility, Citrus Bowl, and whatnot. Dave in Houston sends in, need to understand how the Florida Bowls are a best-case scenario. If Bama beats Georgia in the SEC title game and puts 2 SEC teams in the playoffs and moves everybody up in that pecking order, would a 9-3 A&M team ranked 12th or 13th not play in a New Year's Six game? And I guess the answer to that would kind of be dependent on what happens above them, right? What happens with Ole Miss still, what happens with some of the other teams that are up there. How do you see that shaking out in a best case, worst case scenario?
Well, the best case, I mean, first of all, you've got Mississippi State and Ole Miss playing and going to be playing in the Egg Bowl, and that's going to be a big win for one of those teams. And you've got, obviously, both of them beat A&M. And that, a lot of it, it's going to be, as as kind of the pecking order of who they choose. You look at travel and all that. So I think the A&M's in good shape there. But if you look at both of them, it does depend. It does depend on how both of those teams, for example, finish out. Arkansas as well, although I think they'll lose this week, but who knows? I think all those things factor in. It's not just it's really hard for me to say that, what's the high level mark and what's the low level mark, but I think you're kind of on it. I think it's probably one of the Florida Bowls it would be the best guess of the sweet spot of where they're likely going to be. But a lot of believe it or not, 2 weeks left, but a lot of football left that's going to determine, and it's a lot more than about A&M, because I think, A&M takes care of their business. They still gotta wait and see what happens in what I think is a logjam SEC. But the other thing is you got nobody in the East. I mean, you got Kentucky in the East. That is going to be a bit of an intrigue, because they're going to go now to a Florida game. They were really hoping to go 11-1, go to a New Year's Six game. So yeah, it's going to get interesting, and I don't have the answer of where it's going to be at this point, because that involves a lot of variables.
Yeah, Kentucky, by the way, also 5-3 there in the conference. Let's take a look at what happened this past weekend there in Oxford. I was there for that game. It was, from my perspective, Chris, it was a very hard game to gauge, because it started off in a blowout trend. A&M then was the better team in the second half for the most part, until when it counted, and that's when Ole Miss turned it on. How do you assess what went wrong on Saturday night?
Well, first of all, I thought Ole Miss came out, and I thought they completely outplayed A&M. And, if it wasn't for A&M's defense in the red zone, this game could have been 20, 24, dare I say even 27-0 instead of 13-0. The red zone defense stepped up big and kept them in the game, as we all know. The biggest thing was that they played, as I thought they might. Ole Miss put numbers in the box. They had the 6 DBs, but they played a couple of guys down in the box at linebacker to take away the run game. The real key to this game, and where I thought A&M could run the football, is I thought they would really do a good job of putting a hat on a hat and getting some movement. Ole Miss outquicked them. Ole Miss did a really good job of being quicker up front and attacking the gaps. It wasn't like, the defense just overpowered A&M. Quite the opposite. They outquicked them. They shot gaps. And so the running game never got going, because they were penetrating gaps before the run creases could be created. If A&M can't run the football, they're not going to be a very efficient offense this year. Okay, this is not a team that can throw it when they have to throw it. They have to take advantage of using the running game to build into the pass game, meaning you've got to overplay the run, and that gives them some opportunities. I thought that there were some opportunities in the pass game on the underneath routes that A&M didn't do a very good job. They either, in some cases, didn't recognize it quick enough with their corners dropping off. They were, again, a drop or two, and then there was just a couple of misrun routes and coverage recognition miscues. Look, you've got to have some success in the passing game. You got to be balanced enough, and this team's not really balanced. Outside of, the Alabama game, which, again, I think people tend to take a one-game snapshot and say, they figured it all out. That's the way it's going to be. Well, it's not the way it is. One game doesn't make a season. It doesn't carry over. It's maybe a sign that things might be getting better, but you don't know. And I think in terms of, one of the things that they did well in that game is they dictated the flow with their run, and they never could do it. Second half, they did a really good job. I thought Ole Miss, with a little bit of a lead, backed off a little bit defensively and played a little bit more coverage. Like they didn't want to give up a deep ball. So I thought it created some run creases for A&M, and that's when you start to see the offense start to have some success. Some outside zones, the outside zone was working a little bit more because they were concentrated. Ole Miss was concentrated on getting through the A and B gaps very aggressively. So that's why the inside run just never had any level of consistency. It only was when they were able to trap a guy and get a guy loose. But the outside zone had some success, and then they worked the middle of the field a little bit, had a couple of plays in the passing game, but not enough. And look, I kept looking at it saying and watching it, man, this defense of A&M, I mean, you can't ask for anything more. They gave up a ton of yards. There's no question. Now, they did play the giving up yards is a lot of too deep coverage, a lot of split safety looks. Ole Miss was able to move the football. You have to give up something, which you don't want to give up if you're A&M. If you're a team like A&M, is you don't want to give up the big chunk play, and you want to rely on the fact that, look, they're going to make yards, but we have to rally, break on the ball, tackle well. And they just, as I said, came up big in the red zone. So they held them to 13-0. I mean, you kidding me? Like I said, it felt like 24-0. And it was like, okay, 13-0 is not insurmountable. 24-27, is with this offense. So I thought they did a lot of good things to give themselves a chance. The whole yards, giving up a bunch of yards, wasn't that big of an issue if you understand what they were trying to do. I'm not saying they were happy they were giving up yards, but it was in lieu of giving up the big quick score, which could have really been devastating. Because in the short field in the red zone, you don't have to worry about the big play as much. So you can be a little bit more aggressive. So the underneath stuff doesn't work as much because you've got a compressed field. So I thought they had a good game plan defensively overall to execute what they needed to do and gave their offense a chance. I think they did a really poor job. I didn't think it was I thought Jimbo was a little bit behind in trying to and the whole understanding the whole protection schemes and what could work and what they were doing. I mean, I think it must have recognized what they were doing, but I don't think they did a really good job of play sequences that could have maybe given them a little bit of a chance. Look, at times it looked like it was really close, right? But yet against an Auburn, you're going to have a chance to win a game like that because they're not an explosive offense. You play it close. It's a, 17, 20 points going to win it type of game. You make a play on defense, boom, you can win it. But against an Ole Miss type of team, and I would say like in a bowl game, whoever they match up against, if you've got a team that's got a really good offense, you're going to have to find a way to be balanced enough. So it's going to be interesting to see the rest of the way. But that's how I saw it. That's the issue. And, that's something that they've got to work on this year and beyond. And some of the things there are a lot of pieces to unravel to kind of say, well, what needs to be done. But everything from protection, recognition, play sequencing, how to attack with the running game versus a very quick team up front. And obviously quarterback development is going to have to be a big part of it.
Chris, one of the things that I found interesting is, yes, I think the defense obviously played very well in the red zone and limiting to that first half 15-0, but the big runs that Ole Miss was able to carve up, and it seemed like their backs would get lost and then bust out, and then there wasn't really good tackling at times to allow for 6-7 extra yards.
Yes, and a lot of it was certainly not designing the missed tackles, but you had less numbers in there in run defense. So they do a really good job of kind of picking off defensive linemen and kind of work the flow one way, and they did a really good job of that. And I think that was, again, the design was to not allow the big play. So you had safeties they were reading the safeties deep, so they attacked with the running game. Now, the answer is you got to play better at the second level, but you normally what you would do is be a little bit more aggressive with having guys on the second level to help with the run. But the theory being, not to give off that many explosive runs. You don't want that. But they were really good at, again, on a short field handling that. So it was a byproduct of not enough numbers in those situations that you're referring to, not enough numbers and really poor angles. Those are the two things that were really key. So it wasn't a great defensive performance in terms of shutting out yards or shutting out plays, but it was a defense that's kind of built around giving up explosive plays. And it's kind of like, working with Belichick, for example, a lot of what he does, and I think a lot of defenses today, when people talk about defenses, they're not concerned about yards as much as they're concerned about being able to get off the field on third down and in the red zone. And you don't want to lose the time of possession battle where you get worn down. But certainly the missed tackles were definitely a valid point. But that's what I saw as to why.
Methodology on a week where you're taking on an inferior opponent, you still got LSU looming. What do you think typically a team does in this situation when it comes to how they attack their game plan, the type of plays we're going to see from some of the stars? How does that typically work itself out?
Well, here's what I always did on those situations. I call it play through an opponent, a play through an opponent. And what that simply means is, first of all, there's a lot off of this game for A&M to work on themselves. Okay, get better at, don't waste a week of practice, don't waste a game against an inferior opponent and miss a chance to get better. Okay, don't look at it as, well, they won or lost. You got to get better in there, improve in some of those key areas, some of which we've talked about. But one of the things you can do is implement some of the LSU stuff without introducing it as LSU stuff. So a coverage, a front, a formation that you have to go against defensively, that it may not be as much as what, Purview will do, but it will be some things. That way you get a little extra week of practice. You don't want to come in with the attitude of, hey, look, we don't give a bleep about this team, so we're going to put in the game plan this week against LSU. One, it really sends a message internally that we don't have to work as hard, and then you get sloppy and you develop bad habits, and all of a sudden you got a sloppy win that you didn't get much out of. Two, you get stale, believe it or not. If you start practicing against an opponent and you go 2 weeks, it's better to kind of work against things to kind of get a feel for getting better against this look. And as I like to say, work on yourself. You're struggling against, with this protection, work on it a little bit more in practice. You're struggling, against this look. That's what I try to do in an opponent like this. Don't waste an opportunity. You can play some young guys. Everybody focuses on that. Yeah, that's great. But challenge your guys to say, you want to get a little time off, starters, you dominate the first quarter, you dominate into the second quarter, and then you get some time off. Otherwise, your range going to be on the field, and we're going to have to get you better in the second half, and we don't want to do that. We want to get other guys a look. We want to give you a rest.
Chris, last thing for you. Got about a minute left. Just compare LSU to somebody A&M has played this year, because I see a team that has played teams real tight, has still a lot of talent, but they haven't been winning games. Playing at Death Valley, always tough, maybe a chance for a bowl game for them. Who does LSU remind you of in regards to who A&M has played?
Not like anybody that they've played. It's completely different. The offense is not very good, so A&M will be in good shape in that. Defensively, they'll be able to control this game. We'll talk about it next week, but just a quick look. They'll be able to should be able to control LSU's offense. It's not very good. Now, the defense is playing pretty well. They're playing a lot of young guys, and they are very talented. So it'll be a challenge. The one thing I would say is, aggressive, athletic, a little bit bigger, but athletic, maybe a little bit like Ole Miss's defense, but nowhere near the type of offense. So it could be a cross between an Ole Miss and an Auburn, in that they're not like either one. LSU's not like either one. But in terms of what A&M has to do, that's stylistically what they're going to be facing. Can control the game defensively and probably get enough field position for the offense to have success. LSU play hard, but they are playing hard. Give them a lot of credit. It's the last game for Ed Orgeron, and you're right. It may mean a bowl game. I don't even know how many of those players really want to go in a bowl game. So I don't know if that's going to be as big a motivation as people might think.
Appreciate you, Chris. Thanks, man.
Thank you.
Take care. All right, Chris Landry there, the Texas A&M Scouting Report here on TexAgs Radio, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. When we come back, a little up to the second college football preview with our buddy Josh Pate. That interview is going to be ready to roll. We'll have a little chunk of it to get you ready for that show tonight. It's TexAgs Radio.
Your home for Texas A&M baseball is Sports Radio 1150 AM and 93.7 FM.
The Zone. Since 1957, Slovakic Sausage in Snook has been making the best tasting sausage in Texas from the same family recipe. Slovakic is the official sausage of Texas A&M athletics. Whether it's from the grill to the family gathering or from the pit to the neighborhood party, serve the sausage voted best in the Brazos Valley. Serve Slovakic. Be sure to come in and check out their full-service meat market, relax on the front porch, or grab some fresh kolaches from their bakery on your way out. Slovakic Sausage, Highway 60 in Snook.
We have trucks. Yes, at Tom White Chevrolet, we have the cars, trucks, and SUVs you want today. New, used, and certified pre-owned, we have more stock coming in daily, and we won't be beat on price. And if you need quick cash, we are buying cars even if you don't buy from us. All roads lead to Tom White Chevrolet in Bryan College Station. Chevy, find new roads. More details at tomlight.com.
Tom Light Chevrolet. We're here for you every day.
There's a Kubota for every job. There's a Kubota for every harvest. There's a Kubota for every task. And at Normandy Tractor, for a limited time only, take the drive to Normandy, Texas, and let Vernon and the boys show you what they have. Get the new Kubota BX 1880 16.6 horsepower tractor and a Kubota loader with a quick attach bucket now through December 31st, 2021. For a cash price of only $12,950 or payments as low as $170 per month. With no money down, based on 0% down, 1.99% APR for 84 months. Normandy Tractor has over 8 acres of Kubota tractors, Kubota RTVs, ATVs, and Kubota mowers to choose from. They're at the corner of Highway 39 and OSR in Normandy, Texas. And remember, nobody beats Normandy Tractor. Nobody.
Now through December 31st, 2021. For warranty terms, see Kubota's limited warranty at KubotaUSA.com or your Kubota dealer.
Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max.
Former Packers defensive back Leroy Butler joins us. Where do you think Aaron Rodgers, from where you're sitting, what does it look like, his future? Where do you think all that is right now?
Well, the future's Jordan Love. This is an isolated year. They're going to try to go all in to win the Super Bowl. But the future has to be number 10. I mean, it really is. And I think next year they'll try to get Aaron Rodgers in there. They'll sit down. Where do you want to go? And they'll try to trade him and see if it works out. I think this is the 1 year they have to move on and say, when do we think about the future? We don't want to be like the Saints. We don't want to be like the Washington football team. We don't want to be like some of these other franchises that don't have a quarterback. We don't want to be like that. We want to be good now and in the future. And I think Jordan Love clock starts next year.
It's Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max, powered by WC Tractor, here on Sports Radio 1150 AM and 93.7 FM.
Welcome back, TexAgs Radio, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers here in the Rollo Insurance Studio. We appreciate all the text messages coming up on the AMB text line. We'll try to get to those shortly, and on the BCSI hotline, those calls as well. But before we do any of that, we got a loaded rest of the 9 o'clock hour. We just had Chris Landry. We'll have Gary Blair a little bit later, Bert Kuhn all here this hour. Right now, I want to run part of our interview with Josh Pate there from 24/7 Sports from tonight's Up to the Second College Football. All right, guys, let's get right into it with our big guest of the week, Josh Pate. We had him on the show on TexAgs just a couple of days back, actually a week back. Josh Pate, 24/7 Sports, CBS HQ, and, of course, Late Kick Live and on the podcast as well. Josh, thanks for joining us, man.
I appreciate you having me. I got probably pound for pound the most compliments and reaction from coming on with you guys as I do going on radio in my actual hometown of Columbus, Georgia. So I think that's probably a huge compliment for TexAgs. I also think it may mean that Columbus radio is struggling, and it's probably a mixture of both, but I'm happy to be here.
Well, I'll tell you what, man, before I took the job here in July, everybody's telling me, you got to check out what Josh Pate's doing. He's doing great work. And I think we both have a similar background. You did local television for a while, correct?
I did local sports and then elevated to local news. And that's just, look, I don't even have to do hair, obviously. And that's still waking up at 3:30 every morning to talk about triple homicides. And I just rather talk about triple reverses, man.
Yeah, man, I don't miss that news grind at all. All right, let's get into one of the big games this weekend, Ohio State, Michigan State. The Big Ten obviously could be on the line here. Just what's your take on how this game could play out?
So I know when this thing probably opened, I think maybe the point spread was a little jarring, and it's around 20, I think, 19 or 20 or so. This is the game I'm going to go to because I think still it's like when Stanford used to play Oregon back in the Chip Kelly days. They had to put the 20 on there, because there's a chance Oregon can run it up any given week. But there's also a chance they could lose outright. And it just, even though the spread was that fat, it always felt like there was this very, very fine seesaw kind of effect. And that's kind of how I feel this game is. I'll tell you what really stands out to me, David, is a couple of weeks ago when Ohio State went into Nebraska and they won. They didn't win as impressively as people thought they should, but they won. Ryan Day the whole week was preaching the right sermon, telling them, number one, that's a better team than their 3 and whatever record indicates. But number two, what he was really trying to tell them is, we have not arrived. We've got all the pieces. Like, they got all the fascinating looking 4- and 5-star pieces. They have not clicked. Last week was the first time that they've probably rubber banded themselves into the trajectory of play that you would expect from Ohio State. The big question with the great teams is, do they do it repeatedly? The answer for them is yes. With Ohio State, this is, I think, the game we find out how serious they are as a national championship contender, because this is the kind of game that there's no more time to build. There's no more time to clean this up and fix this and tighten this up. It's mid-November, dude. And for all likelihood, college football playoff trip is on the line for you from here on out. But also, if you lose this game this weekend, like, not only the playoff is in doubt, but the Big Ten's potentially in doubt. What I loved last week is they had really good balance. They had a really good throw run. They listened to that offensive line get trashed all week, and then they own the line of scrimmage. That's what I'll be interested in. And the one other thing, I don't know how much the nation's been paying attention, but in Columbus, Ohio, they're a little uneasy about C.J. Stroud and his mental toughness and physical toughness, for that matter, passing up some opportunities to run for extra yardage. And this is the kind of game, and that Michigan game's the kind of game, and the Big Ten title game, that's the kind of game where you may not like it, but you got to put your face in the fan a couple of times that maybe you haven't had to so far this year. So just those intangibles, those moments you need to go over the cliff a little bit, I'm really interested to see what that results in for Ohio State. I do like them to win. I don't really have a strong feel. I think Michigan State has enough in them to cover. But, man, if that thing's a one-possession fourth quarter deal, that is game on. That's going to be fun in Columbus.
Could you see CJ and or Kenneth Walker III making it to New York? I mean, dependent on what happens here these next 3 weeks?
Well, this is what's really – I don't normally get into the Heisman, but I'm into it right now because of what you just said. One totally correlates to the other. If C.J. Stroud were to lose Saturday, if Ohio State loses, not only is he possibly to probably knocked out of Heisman contention, at least at the forefront of the conversation, but, I mean, I've got to believe if Ohio State loses, it is directly attributed to Kenneth Walker having a big game, which means one supplants the other. And if you look at the odds right now, it's Bryce and it's CJ and then it's Kenneth Walker. And so he's already up there. And that same thing could happen down the road with Bama in the SEC championship game. Like, if they beat Georgia, it's probably because of Bryce Young. Well, what if they lose? And then all of a sudden it's because Jordan Davis has some monster game. Or what if Alabama wins with pedestrian quarterback play because Will Anderson has a big day? So there are a lot of these games down the stretch that are going to define conferences and the playoff that also have these key Heisman players, which is the way it's supposed to play out. And you could have bumper car scenarios on both sides of that fence.
So, Josh, today I don't have Cincinnati as one of the 4 best in the country, but I could see where they will be one of the 4 best in the country, depending on what happens with SMU and the University of Houston there in that conference championship game. Your thoughts on these challenges ahead for Cincinnati and what it means long-term for them this year?
I keep thinking they're going to lose a game because they're not playing dominant football. But you ever notice, I don't know if this happens to you, but it happens to me. You make these statements. Well, down the road. And then you get further down the road and you realize there's not a lot of road left. I mean, we're in the middle of November. And so they've only got a couple of hurdles left to clear. And then, of course, the AAC title game. What I'm wondering is really how much has changed. Because in years past, what we have said about that requisite G5 this year at Cincinnati is, yeah, they're undefeated. They're going to need some help. And for all the consternation back and forth, it's really the same place we're at right now. And I don't think it's necessarily all of them. Yes, they could have helped themselves by being more dominant. To me, the biggest takeaway here is their conference has dropped the ball for them. I mean, when I was in the preseason and I made a statement like, if Cincinnati goes undefeated, this is the year a G5 will be able to be in the playoff. I said that, predicating it off the idea that their conference was going to have a good enough profile about itself. And it hasn't. And then they also haven't played dominant football. So I look at it right now, and I wonder when we get to that conference championship Saturday, and we know what the table looks like, is there going to be a path at all where Cincinnati controls their fate based on their performance that Saturday? As of this moment, it's not impossible. It's kind of tough for me to envision. But then again, you know, as much road as we don't have left, there are still some big bumps on the road for these other contending teams.
Josh, are you intrigued at all by this Arkansas-Alabama game? All right, the rest of that interview you can catch on Up to the Second College Football, which we will present tonight at 5 o'clock on TexAgs.com. He goes on to Ole Miss. He goes on to talk about A&M and whatnot, so we'll definitely you want to tune in for that and the rest of the interviews on that show. Right now, let's talk about the Association of Former Students, our good friends there, Porter Garner, what a great guy, Catherine Greenwade, Randy Reyes, Lexi, the whole gang, and everything that they do. What they do is they give back, right? They're the oldest organization serving that A&M network. They are here. They are there. They are everywhere. And they have done this because of your help, guys. That's right. Every dollar that you put into there goes a long, long way. I can read you the list from the Aggie Band travel to the Corps of Cadets to the Midnight Yale Security, the study abroad scholarships. Just become a Century Club member and you can help out, guys. $100 a year, $9 a month. You get the decal, the plaque, the Texas Aggie magazine. Plus, you're continuing in the oldest, most inspiring tradition of Aggies helping other Aggies. To learn more about the impact of the association, get involved or make a gift, visit aggienetwork.com/giving.
I'm Chelsea Reber with your community calendar on the Zone. Bethany Baptist Church is providing free meals to residents and businesses in Robertson County on the Saturday before Thanksgiving. Come eat at the Fellowship Hall or call 279-2196 to register for meal delivery. The NAMI Connection Recovery Support Group is a confidential support group for any adult who's experienced symptoms of a mental health condition. The group meets Thursday evenings. Find out more at namibv.org. Every Thursday morning from 8 to 10, all veterans and family members of veterans are welcome for coffee and donuts at American Legion Post 159 on Highway 21. Find out more about current and upcoming events and exhibitions at the University Art Galleries and the MSC. Go online to uart.tamu.edu. Win a pair of tickets to the A&M Prairie View game Saturday from T-Mobile, the official 5G provider of the SEC and the Louis Bellina Show. Go now to zone1150.com and enter for a chance to win. I'm Chelsea Reber on the Zone.
This Christmas, Hope marches on. The Salvation Army, in partnership with Bryan Broadcasting, present Angel Tree. You can support a local child in need by adopting an angel from the angel trees located in the Post Oak Mall food court. All Blue Baker restaurants are online at salvationarmybcs.org.